continue to stay standing as we enter our Ma'ariv service with a Chatzi Kaddish on page 144.
Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, Ba'agala, Uvizman Kari, V'meru, Amen. Yesh Merabba Mevorach, Le'olam Le'omaya, Yirbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yirpahar, V'yitrama, V'yidnaseh, V'yidhadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shemer Kuresham, B'richu, Le'elam, Min Kol Bechata, V'shirata, Tush Bechata, V'nechemata, Damiran Be'alma,
O God, you are as near to us as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. O let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. Baruch Hu, page 146.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Page 149. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Together, Baruch Atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim, blessed are you, O God, who brings on the evening. Page 150, let's read together. Everlasting love you have offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. Baruch Atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You can have a seat and continue on page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'adecha ve'hayu advarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha Vishinantam livanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'v'leftecha b'derech, u'v'shachbecha u'v'kumecha, u'v'shartam leot al yadecha, Hayu letotafot beinenecha Uchtatavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'eloheichem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Amen.
Earlier this evening, if this was before you tuned in, we were singing with some of the littlest friends we have at TBT. And when we got to the Micha Mocha, Cantor sang a cute song with them about marching across and swimming across. And I really appreciated seeing their little footsteps going during the march. And it really reminded me of this idea from the Midrash that it's by the breath of the school children that the world will endure. That's what the Talmud says. And it just made me realize when you see those little steps leading into the future, that we look to them and their excitement and their beautiful voices as the future that will, yes, in fact, lead to the redemption, not just remember it. And so that's what I have in my heart as we enter Micha Mocha, the steps of little children. Together, 158, we sing this joyful song. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Blessed are you, O God, for the redemption of Israel. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Guard us from all that would do us harm. For you, God, watch over and deliver us in your grace and mercy. Guard our going and coming to life, to peace forevermore. Page 160, we sing together Hashkivin. ata Adonai haporesu kat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al kol Yerushalayim. We continue with the Amidah on page 164. In this place, which is a wooden camp structure, I nevertheless feel the presence of Shabbat coming in. Heschel said that Shabbat is like a cathedral in time. It's like building this grand artifice, not in a particular place, but in a place beyond all places. And so, even at camp, or maybe all the more so at camp, I'm able to focus more on this special time and less on the surroundings. So wherever you are right now, whether you're here in person or in your living room or visiting a friend or wherever you happen to be, I invite you to embrace your surroundings and take a moment to look inward and feel the presence beyond our surroundings. Page 164. Please rise if it's comfortable to do so.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanor, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Mori HaGashem, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, U'Midom Elach, Melech Memit U'Mechayeh, U'Matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kedoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We take a moment to embrace the silence and utter a private word of prayer, whatever it is that we need to say. This is our time. We'll join together with a meditation on page 180. Feel free to have a seat whenever you're ready to do so, but not before. How lovely. Thank you so much, Corey. We always love your cameos. We'll take a moment now to share a prayer for those in need of healing in our community. The ancient rabbis teach that one who goes to visit the sick and share the presence with them, their care with them, removes 1/60th of that person's suffering. 1/60th might not sound like a lot, but it nevertheless does make a difference. It makes a difference to let somebody know that you care for them, that you're praying for them. And so we're praying for all of these people in our community. Our members, April D'Amato, Norma Diamond, Henry Gettenberg, Sandra Hyman, Marcia Jacoby, Tom Louie, Josh Lipschitz, and Sabrina Maurer. And, of course, all those who you have sent to us who are in need of healing, the loved ones of our congregation, Connie Ambrosino, Stephen Verdi, Harriet Cohn-Haggerty, Claire Fenton, Mickey Bart, Jay Fliss, Herman Meha, Sue Yaris, Mark Ostreicher, Sidney Scher, Bart Young, Soraya Casey, Mary Beth Malone, Sarah Beggs, Sarah Bryant, Helen Dreyfus, Jennifer Murphy, Lillian Wasserman, Harold Asher, Seth Axelrod, Jordan Lustig, Betsy Carlson, Ben Peck, Mark Potter, and Martha Potter, Gloria Jennings, Sabine Meyer, Gloria Newell, Lois Smith, Mary Beth Malone, Michael Bruce Ensign, Joan Sidney, Ira Weiss, Betsy Powers Brown, Shannon Charette, Maris McNeil, Chuck Pajot, and Leah Bat Shmuel Ufesa. If there are others who you'd like to add to our prayers tonight, feel free to add their names to the chat if you'd like us to read them aloud. Or for those who are here in person, I'll come around now. We pray for healing and for strength and for peace. Misha Berach is on page 371. When Susan and I were planning to move out here, one of the things that really sold us on the Connecticut shoreline is that people here have a lot of heart. There's a kindness about the culture in Guilford and Madison that I have found both refreshing and familiar as someone who grew up in the Midwest. I believe that one of the members of our search committee told me that it's the sort of place where your neighbor shovels out your driveway for you. Well, I haven't had occasion yet to test whether that particular thing is true. It's definitely the spirit on our block. This is a special place. As I mentioned in my installation remarks a few weeks ago, I believe that our congregation really embodies the value of chesed, kindness, and generosity. At TBT, we have a lot of heart. It's a very Jewish trait. And so this week in the Torah, we see our matriarch, Rebecca. Rebecca is selected for her role as one of our matriarchs, precisely because she too has a lot of heart. As Abraham's servant Eliezer passes through her town to find a wife for his son Isaac, Rebecca proves that she has a lot of heart. Without even knowing who he is, she hustles back and forth, filling up the buckets heavy with water from the trough, back and forth to give to 10 camels, one by one, water to drink after their journey. 10 camels. I think they can drink a lot of water. Because of this, Rebecca is remembered for her kindness and her generous heart. A modern Israeli Torah commentator named Tzila Ron describes her qualities this way. In looking for a wife for Isaac, Eliezer was trying to find a woman who excelled in every area, whereas this particular test only proved that she had a good heart. That is, the test of being generous to Eliezer and the camels. How then did Eliezer know that Rebekah's other qualities would also be superior? We find proof for this, says the commentator, in the Mishnah. And so now, like the rabbis are wont to do, we peel back a layer and we go further back in Jewish text to the Mishnah. What happens in this section of the Mishnah? All the great qualities of the ancient rabbis are discussed. This is the second chapter of Pirkei Avot. After listing attributes like memory, integrity, piety, and strength, toward the end of this list, a great rabbi, Yochanan ben Zakkai, says something curious about his student, Rabbi Eliezer. Also an Eliezer, probably not a coincidence. About his student, Rabbi Eliezer, he says, if the sages of Israel were on one scale of the balance, and Rabbi Eliezer was on the other, he would outweigh them all. Wow, pretty impressive claim, right, about Rabbi Eliezer. Now, if you keep reading in this section of the Mishnah, you'll see that the next part shows that Rabbi Eliezer, this superhero, gets interviewed as to which is the most important attribute to which a person could aspire. And of course, we want to take his advice because he outweighs all of the rest of the rabbis in goodness. Again, we have in this part of Pirkei Avot a list of virtues. What does it mean to be good, to be a good neighbor, a good friend, to have good intuition? These are some of the rabbi's suggestions about key attributes. But what's Rabbi Eliezer's answer? Lev Tov, he says. Someone should have a good heart. Hence, the commentators remark that Rebecca would exhibit many superior qualities and not just a good heart, because in this way of reading things, good character begins and ends with a good heart. Now, we all know that our country is going through some tough times right now, in many respects. People are being impatient, ungenerous, unkind, ugly to one another. They are often not open to really listening to each other, to really understand each other. That is why I feel all the more grateful to live in a place like Guilford and Madison, places that have heart. This Tuesday is Election Day. It's a chance for us all to play a role in the direction of our community. But this year's election in Guilford has been particularly divisive and somewhat mean-spirited. It saddens me that some of the acrimony of national politics has filtered into our local conversations. Too often we forget to listen. This discourse sometimes lacks generosity. It lacks tolerance for cognitive dissonance, for ideas that are not our own that we can still hold in our hearts, for views not shared. In short, our discourse lacks heart sometimes. I hope that everybody in our congregation plans to make their voices heard on Election Day. We often make a big fuss about our national elections, but the truth is that these local races often impact our lives much more directly. Civic participation is a fairly rare privilege in the scope of Jewish history as well. And it should make us all proud to be Americans. So please, go vote on Tuesday if you have not already voted. Earlier, I quoted from the Mishnah. I'd like to share one more text that I love from a collection from a similar time to the Mishnah. It's from the Tosefta, another collection. And in this quote, the rabbis are wrestling with the legal conflicts and disputes between two famous rabbis, Hillel and Shammai, these great rabbis of their generation about 2,000 years ago, who disagreed on every single point of Jewish practice. The Tosefta says about their disputes, "Make yourself a heart of many rooms, and bring into it the words of the house of Shammai and the words of the house of Hillel, the words who declare that something is kosher, and the words of the other who declares that the very same thing is treif. Make yourself a heart of many rooms." Would that all of us would make our hearts a heart of many rooms, as the text suggests. What would it look like? What would it look like to listen respectfully and openly to others with the goal to learn something new? This Tuesday, let's all vote. Let's all vote our conscience. But even more importantly than what happens on Election Day is how we relate to one another in the days that follow Election Day. Like Rebecca at the well, let us lead with open and generous hearts. Let us draw from the wells of mutual trust and admiration to move through this challenging American moment in the spirit of love, mutual concern, and hope for the future. That is the spirit of the Shoreline. Shabbat Shalom. We can conclude our service with Aleinu L'Shabeach, page 586. If it's comfortable to do so, please rise together with us.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We can have a seat, and Deb, please don't have a seat. Deb Coe is going to come and greet us on behalf of our leadership. I've got it printed out for you. That's okay. Get nice and close to the mic, okay?
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Deb Coe, and I'm currently the co-chair of the Education Committee here at Temple Beth Tikvah. Tomorrow, join us for Torah study at 9 a.m., led by Cantor Boyle. Links are in your inbox. Also, our men's group will be gathering at TBT at 9:40 for bagels and coffee and the discussion with Rabbi Moss. Reach out to Ken Rosenberg for more information. Women of TBT, Rosh Hodesh will be celebrated this Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. on Zoom. The link is also in your inbox. Next Friday, Shabbat services will also meet here once again at 6:30 at Camp Laurelwood. We will please join us for the Shabbat service celebrating Alexandra Rothstein becoming a bat mitzvah. Please be sure and check your inbox to see how you can help our Afghan family refugee resettlement program. There are many ways to help as we assist a family looking to settle into their apartment. Your generosity in giving tzedakah to this cause or volunteering in one of many other potential areas of need are much appreciated. You can speak with John Katz for more information. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Thanks, Deb.
I have one correction and one addition to the announcements.
Sure.
The Rosh Chodesh group on Wednesday will meet at 7:30 on Zoom, not 6:30. And we are also celebrating our third graders next week. They will each be getting their own siddur at the Shabbat service as well.
Excellent. That'll be a special service for sure. And we're looking forward to celebrating with the Rothsteins and the Jacobis the week after, and then the Coes not too far from that too. That's right. And so lots of good, exciting things coming up for TBT. And we'll now conclude with the Mourner's Kaddish section of our service. If you'd like to follow along, I'm going to read on page 593 this meditation. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan, yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal a purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love we are comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. As our hearts turn to those whom we have loved and lost, our TBT family remembers those in the period of Shaloshim, 30 days following a loss, and those in the period of Yortzeit, honoring somebody who passed away at this time in years gone by. Feel free to rise as I read your loved one's name. In the period of Shaloshim, Gary Widlitz, husband of Pat. In the period of Yortzeit, Linda Shiwek, Hattie Weiss, Myron Godel, Jacob Selikoff, Susan Summer, Magda Auerbach, Lawrence B. Summer, Miriam Engel, Fanny Stein, Ron Lima, Oscar Saper, and Estelle Silberstein. We also take a moment tonight to remember the 11 people who were massacred in the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh while praying on a Shabbat morning this week 3 years ago. And they include Joyce Feinberg, Richard Gottfried, Rose Mallinger, Jerry Rabinowitz, Cecil Rosenthal and David Rosenthal, Bernice Simon, Sylvan Simon, Daniel Stein, Melvin Wax, and Irving Younger. If there are others who would like to add to our prayers for sacred memory, feel free to add their name into the chat or share their name aloud here if you would like. I'd invite us to rise in solid. Oh, sorry.
Harry Shanzer has added Joaquin Shanzer.
Thank you, Joaquin Shanzer. I'll invite us now to rise in solidarity as we together share these words of Kaddish Yatom, page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach yireutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayichon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'yizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'le'amei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehe shalama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May all who are in grief find comfort on this day. As together we say, Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen.
We can all have a seat, and we'll join together for Kiddush and Moti. If you have your wine or grape juice at home or your challah, feel free to get them now, and I'll come down. Oh, thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. Please watch yourself. You say grape or grapes?
I said thanks,
Oh,
but
neither.
also grapes and grapes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodesho be'ahava v'ratzon hinchilanu Zikaron le'maaseh bereishit Ki hu yom tekivah le'mikra'ei kodesh Zecher l'tzion Mitzrayim Ki banu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta Mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. Lechaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'am. All right. As I said before, it begins and ends with a kind heart. And so, what more fitting concluding song could we sing than Olam Chesed Yibaneh? That we will build this world through love. Those are the only Hebrew words, I think, in the whole thing, right? Olam Chesed Yibaneh.
Correct.
That's it.
Olam chesed yibaneh, Olam chesed yibaneh, Olam chesed
If we build it.
If we build this world from love,
Then God will build this world.
God will build this world from love.
This week and following weeks and all weeks to come, may we be a force for good, building this world from love. Thank you all. Good to see you. Shabbat Shalom.